and thank you, Laurie, for the introduction. It's indeed a pleasure to be among you in the Founders District, and it's good to see a lot of familiar faces. Laurie had put the photograph, but there are a few people whom I have interacted with in more ways than some of you. I have Roberta Perry, of course, and Richard Snyder, who served with me on the board of directors, and Jesse Oakley, as Laurie said, was the chair of the Las Vegas conference. And if some of you had attended, you had noticed that in my opening address, I referred to the showgirls who had welcomed me to the stage, and that was a first for me. But it showed that there is a lot of diversity in Toastmasters, and it showed that the experience that we have while going through the Toastmasters journey teaches us so much, and it polishes us to understand better and to make sure that we are perceived as people who are willing to listen, who are willing to understand and come up with ways in order for us to face challenges. And the pandemic is a wonderful example of how Toastmasters could adapt to the challenges and adapt to the circumstances that we have. And by the way, if you were looking at the poster and you saw my Arabic attire and the photo that Laurie had put, and you look at me, I am exactly the same person. But the only thing is that this look is post-COVID look. And it's fascinating how going through experiences changes your perspectives on a lot of things. And I am no different in how my perspectives changed in life by going through the Toastmasters experience. And if you notice that I always talk about the Toastmasters experience and the Toastmasters journey, because they are exactly that. Toastmasters is not an educational program. Toastmasters is not for you to only enhance your speaking skills. And this is what I had learned through my journey, but not from the beginning, because like many of you, the beginning of my journey was through an invitation, just like 99.9% of us. Someone invites us, and the person who invited me was acquainted to me through business dealings that we had. I was working for the police, and at that time, we had some dealings with a couple of companies, and there was this guy called William Sampson. And William Sampson invited me to a Toastmasters meeting. I had no idea what Toastmasters were, but I had a preconception, being a police officer, about toasts and how a lot of people go to bars and parties start with drinking and there are toasts. And this is what I had thought in my mind. So I said, William, I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to go to places where alcohol is served. And he said, it's not about alcohol, it's a public speaking organization. And mind you, in 1996, we were talking about nothing except about Toastmasters being a public speaking organization. So there was nothing that was encompassing the public speaking into communication, and hardly did we know or did we speak about Toastmasters that enhances our leadership skills. But anyway, I went to this Toastmasters club, and there were a bunch of crazy people who were clapping as soon as someone stood up and spoke, and clapped again when someone sat down after they spoke. It was awkward. And it might be awkward for each and every one who comes as a guest if we have not acquainted them, familiarized them with what they are coming to. So I go into this meeting, I finish the meeting, leave, and go home and think nothing about it. The next meeting, that was 2 or 3 months after the first meeting, I saw him again. I saw William Salson again. And he invited me to the meeting again. So I said, I have nothing to do. I will come to the meeting. And I attended that meeting, but something different happened at that meeting. I was called to do the table topics. So I stood up, they gave me the topic. I don't remember what it is, but I spoke about it and I finished and I sat down. At the end of the meeting, they gave me a small trophy and they said, congratulations, you are the best table topic speaker of the day. And yes, we were rich as a club at that time. They were giving the trophies for you to keep. So that impressed me. And right after, a few seconds after the meeting finished, the vice president membership came to me. And he gave me a form and he said, would you like to join? And I didn't hesitate to sign up at that time. Later, I understood that the table topics were rigged. They gave it to the guests who were within reason a better speaker, just like the members. Now, if it took a small cup and a certificate to make an international president, wouldn't you want to do so in your clubs? You see, it takes an invitation, and it takes recognition for people to become better individuals. And probably that is what I understood through my journey in Toastmasters, is that Toastmasters is not about enhancing communication and leadership skills. Toastmasters is about you becoming a better person through enhancing our communication and leadership skills. So you join a club in order to enhance your communication skills. But later I understood that joining a club is not about enhancing your communication and leadership skills. Joining a club, joining Toastmasters, is about becoming a William Sampson. How many of you pride yourselves that you have created leaders? Because that's the ultimate goal, by the way. I've been there, I've been through the club, I've been through the area, I've been through the division, yet I strive to be a William Sampson. You see, the club is the engine which creates leaders. We only take on additional leadership roles outside of the club to enhance and polish what we have learned in our clubs. And this is why it's important for us to have the foundation right. Because I was built in the club. The first year that I joined, there was a club president whom I will never forget. I'm friends with till today. His name was Ramanathan. And he was the epitome of professionalism in running the business meetings, in making sure that ethics are followed, and ensuring that future leaders are sought and mentored. You see, when I joined Toastmasters in 1996, there was only one club in Dubai. And we had no idea that the organization is so big. And it consisted of layers and layers of leadership roles that we could take. We were incubated in our club, but yet the foundation was right. And just like a lot of you, if there are area directors here, at that time we were called area governors. I was asked to take on the area level. And just like many of you, I was hesitant. But then, once you are in the role, you need to make sure, and this is probably what I had done throughout my journey in Toastmasters, is that I make sure whenever I accept a role, I have both the time, the commitment to serve the members I'm responsible for. And many of us think of a volunteer organization as something that we can take very lightly. What I have found out throughout the journey is that if you do not take with you accountability in each and every role that you do, you will not become a successful person, whether in Toastmasters or outside. Because you have to take responsibility. We have to understand that whenever we take roles, area director, division director, district director, or officer, we are taking responsibility for the future of many, many members who are working hard in developing themselves. And if that's the case in our officers in the districts, we are going to build generations of leaders who will be able to carry forward the mantle of our organization. So area, division, and then came district. And by the way, it was a coincidence, but when I became an international director, I was reflecting back into my journey. Between each role and the other, I took a year off of not doing anything. And probably that is something that we need to build in, because just like DTMs, there are many DTMs who have finished their DTM journey in the traditional program within a year, 2 years, 3 years sometimes. And there are others who have taken 10 years just like me, in finishing my DTM. And there is no right or wrong. But what I have found out is that it pays for you to do the work and then take time to listen. And probably listening is something that we undermine in our organization because it's so powerful for you to listen and reflect and then act. How many times have officers have taken roles in their districts and they don't have time to listen to what's happening? They want to finish the job that they have been tasked with, not knowing that finishing the job better will take time off. And I have learned, while I had taken the role of district governor, that was in 2003, 2004, I have learned that it pays and it's worthwhile for us to learn to say no. How many district officers and club officers have burnt out just because there are other people who have not done their job and they take it on their own to finish the other people's job? That, my friends, is not good leadership. Leadership is being able to hold people accountable once they take on a role and be able to delegate certain responsibilities and then monitor and look back whether things have been achieved or not. And probably that is something that I have learned during my international director time. That was 2007 and 2009, where you learn a lot of things. And probably that is something that, again, some of the leaders don't take time to do. You learn while you are an international director in order to see whether you are able and can take on additional roles. So again, I go back to listening. So important. I will never stay back and say that you need to go ahead and achieve your goals without having time to listen. I wanted to let you know that I have learned much more through my failures than through my successes. And probably the most prominent aspect of my journey was when I ran for international director in the year 2006, where I didn't prepare and was full of myself. I thought I'm well known, and by the way, we achieved districts #1 in the world the year that I was district governor, and that was the first year that our district was pronounced provisional. And therefore, I thought, it's easy. I'm going to go through the elections and I will win and I will become an international director. That didn't happen. I failed miserably. And that taught me a very, very important lesson, that never be ill-prepared for whatever you do. So next year, I run for international director again. And that year, I made sure that I have a competent team, a competent campaign manager, my messaging, my communication, the team members that are with me are all part of a plan that was foolproof. At least it is foolproof to my satisfaction. Whatever happened after I had done proper work was none of my business, because that was up to the voters. But what I understood through my previous journey, the year before, is that you need to do exactly what you have to do. And I was grateful that I had won the elections that year, and I served 2 years as international director, which was filled with learning experiences. And I learned that I didn't know the organization, although I had read all the manuals and made sure that I understand whatever are in the books. Yet, what I understood is that the organization evolves. And it's a different experience at each and every role. And it's fascinating when you take the helm as international president, where you have this body of so many individuals with years and years, more than 200 to 300 years of Toastmasters experience collectively. And you are tasked with managing this group into making sure that the strategic plan is achieved, goals of the strategic plan, and making sure that everyone stays together. And that is something that is not easy. Whether you are in a club with an executive team of 7, or an area, or a division, or a district, it's exactly the same, but the dynamics are different. You see, when we become teams, we create a certain dynamic which no one will understand except for the team members. And the beauty of leadership is that we learn fast enough what these dynamics are and capitalize on them in order to go forward. That is the beauty of what Toastmasters does. And there are many people who are hesitant into saying that probably it's not what I have to do, or probably it's not what I want to do. I have an advice for you. If you don't go through an experience, you will never know whether it is a fit for you or not. So leadership is not something that you have a choice with, by the way. Leadership is ingrained in each and every one of us. And I always get this question, which I'm sure you have asked in your district also. Is leadership made? Or are leaders made, or are they born? And you know, the debate will be never ending. But in my opinion, everyone is born a leader. Now, leaders are made when they become efficient. Everyone could say I'm a leader, but if you are not pronounced by the people who are around you, by your team, that you are an efficient leader, then the leadership title has got no value at all. So let me ask you, has anyone come to you and told you that they have learned leadership skills from you? Has anyone come to you and told you, I am a better person because I learned from you, because I saw you and was inspired to go forward? That, my friends, is what Toastmasters is all about. Through our journey, we learn as a first step to enhance our communication skills. And it's very important. But that's a first step towards our journey in leadership. And I will never forget Mark Brown's comment about leadership, where he says, you learn to help yourself first, but then you learn that you are not able to help yourself unless you help others with you. That's a fascinating phrase that I have heard from Mark Brown. And it's something that stuck with me for a very long time. And I suspect it will stay with me for the rest of my life. Because helping others is my goal in life now. And by helping others, I am enhancing my own skills and my own experiences. And the more leadership roles we take, the more capable we are of helping others. Now imagine someone writing the viewpoint in the Toastmasters magazine, and this Toastmasters magazine gets to 350,000 members, 360,000 members, even if it gets to half of them. And there is this one sentence that would make a difference in one person's life. That is ultimate leadership. You never know when you will make a difference in someone's life. Therefore, leadership is making sure you're staying the course day in, day out, step after step, because there are many people who are watching you. And you can leave a positive impression or a negative one. The journey in Toastmasters is about recognition and motivation. And if that is our goal at the first day that we take on ourselves to go through a role in our organization, we are going to be successful. And you will be able to go and tell people that I am an effective leader, not just a leader. So that, my friends, is what Toastmasters is all about. Thank you.